Uh, we're here to get started and seemingly finish off the heated debate, I guess we could call it, from last time about what to do. Thankfully, it seems like Hex isn't going to be able to make it this evening, but you know, Sarah's here, so we can all say hi to her.
Oh, hi, Sarah.
Hi, Sarah. Enjoy your picture shows.
Oh, Sarah. Don't sound so enthusiastic. I love you guys. Hey.
We tolerate you.
Was it like a thing we have to do now? Like, don't tolerate me?
I
What?
barely tolerate any of you, so downgrading won't be too
Whatever. I
tough.
mean, Hex wasn't exactly a factor, right? In the last talk, since he sort of was sick.
It is true. He kind of had some things to take care of as we got to the end there. But yeah, I guess I'll just kind of turn it over to Dante, and he can do whatever it is he's doing.
What would that be?
Hi, Dante.
That's a good question. I don't know yet.
Speaking for a change,
Now, I thought that we had settled on on how we were going to deal with the J, just not with what we're going to do with the girl.
Yeah. At least last I was aware.
and just to remind, like last episode, we sort of settled on getting the money, letting him sort of pay us and do his thing, and then referring him to my contacts, which I forgot I mostly have from my previous life. But maybe, I don't know, Bamce/Dante. I don't know if we actually sort of rectified the situation at all, because the crux of the thing was that I told, let's refer the guy to Evo, and that way, if they say he's very smart and we want him, he's sort of protected, sort of has a job, sort of has a future, and everybody's happy. But it turned out I'm a very uncharismatic guy, and I have no contacts.
That's what fixers
Except
are for. Fixers, they're literally just to know people and get you to talk to people.
Yeah, well, that's like, anyone can talk to a fixer, and I thought I had my contacts. But anyway, yeah, that's what fixers are for. That was totally my way of thinking. And this is something we settle on. I remember it correctly.
Yeah.
I remember there was some talk about whether or not we were going to take the money and what we were going to do with that and that kind of stuff.
No, we're taking the damn money.
And then you sort of blacked out.
I'm happy to take the money as long as we've got an exit strategy for the guy.
Everybody's cool turning him over to Evo?
Yeah.
Or
if the Evo thing isn't an option, okay.
Having the fixer find a corp interested in putting him to work, basically.
Yes, that's something, because if my contacts are not an issue, then maybe we could do another corp. Like, is there a better one? I guess there are like better and worse ones for him, since he's like what, BioWare engineering.
I think Evo's the biggest into like all that transhumanism nonsense, and as long as he's not a technomancer, I think he'll be okay.
Yeah, they're probably going to be the best venue for that particular kind of science, and also the least most evil.
Okay, so I was wise even if I didn't know that. Cool.
I mean, he wouldn't do well at Horizon.
Yeah, he's got no charisma or,
So the thing that remains is the girl.
Well, I'm pretty sure he already said that he was going to euthanize because you can't.
He sort of said that, and I stressed that a couple of times, but I don't think we actually handed her over yet. I mean, it
You
was
did
sort
not.
of hanging in the air.
Yeah, we still had her somewhere.
Yeah, the
Are
biggest
we?
issue would be discussing that with Hex. I thought we were going to do that this week, but I guess Hex didn't get a chance to look
Oh,
at the
right.
video or
Yeah.
last week.
I wanted to see if there would be a way to like turn her into like some sort of like Matrix ghost or like get her a new body or something.
Yeah, like Hex do anything, but Hex didn't do
Yeah.
anything. So I guess what?
The
Maybe
problem
she could
is,
move. She
Go
could
ahead.
move into Hex's brain and become like a mentor spirit of resonance.
I mean, the
Hex with
problem is
2
none
brains?
of us have that, like, any sort of knowledge on that really being a thing, Hex included.
That's why Rod was like firmly for releasing her.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
that was apparently something, I don't know, like there was an issue with like I think it was an issue with Sue as like if Hex could do something. So what do we do since Hex is sort of despawned? Just like we ignore the fact that she's there?
Well, if Hex isn't here, Hex can't do anything. And
Well,
based on the fact that this person's repeated wish was to die, I don't feel like that would be an offense against my morals to allow them to do that or even help them to do that.
allow them
I'm just
Sure.
thinking that
the sweet release of
if,
death.
yeah, allow them the kind of self determination that is the right of all living beings. Uh, but given that, if we had an option for her that might cause her to stop begging for the sweet release of death, that might be worth exploring.
Well, it's
But
kind of a bummer then that Hex is not here to
We
sort of do anything.
we can establish
Well-
2 lines of canon from here, um, because it is dependent upon it is dependent upon Hex because Hex is a technomancer, and with the resonance realms being as literally undefined as they are, um, we could do all kinds of weird stuff with that, but it would require Hex being here, which we can go 2 ways. One, we can establish the canon that we hand over the girl and the doctor takes care of things. But if we find out, one, if Dante has any ideas on the crazy things that could be done to resuscitate her, as it were, um, we could follow that line. Or if Hex as Hex, because I don't know his actual name, um, thinks that she might have an idea on a way that we could do it to kind of bring the test subject back, we could explore that angle. And I already
can we just roll edge to see if we can put her into Hex's brain?
Well, let me ask you this: how much would you enjoy somebody else just hanging out in your brain?
But Hex is
I
special.
have somebody else hanging out in my brain.
Oh, that sounds uncomfortable and crowded.
Actually, I find him quite inspirational.
Anyway, Hex is special. I don't think she might have like the player and the character. I don't know. Maybe they would have nothing, against it.
I'm all for a Schrodinger's technomancer situation
Sounds good.
until we get Hex's
Input,
yay or
because
nay.
it all kind of hinges on Hex because they are the terrorist.
Well, we sort of all know that he will like pop up like mid-adventure and it's like, oh guys, I left whatever important things I was doing and I came here to play with you and stuff. So,
Yeah, it's not that big of a deal. It's something that we can put a pin in, and because I have an idea that is related to this, um, it's something that we can easily insert somewhere else. It doesn't have to be in the next time on taken care of immediately kind of thing.
Okay, so I guess like the next order of action is getting our reward, and then spending let's say like 2 hours of silent stream to pick our qualities and such, skills, and upgrading generally.
Maybe one of the things
Even
I
though-
was. Go ahead.
I actually have a shopping list, so
Me
Sounds
too.
super exciting.
Mm.
One of the things that I did talk to some people about was the idea of like, because like after the runs we have our little sit down and talk about things that happened, questions, comments, concerns, all of that happy bullshit. Is we could also do a little bit of time talking about character advancement, which we can move into doing that since we kind of were like, oh yeah, no, we had already solved the how we getting paid problem, because I kind of thought that was still up in the air a little bit.
I would be actually interested in like a brief explanation of what happened. Like we just hand her over, and he's like, "Yeah, cool," and he disappears into like the sunset.
We don't know yet.
I was picturing like a tearful scene where Hex, reaches in and says, "You sure you want this?" And she says, "God, yes."
Barf.
And then the chemicals go rushing through her veins, and then black, and cue
I mean,
sad music.
in that situation, I feel like since Hex is the one that converses with her, that Hex would have to be the one to push the button.
Yeah, so I think it would
Okay.
be that sort of situation.
Oh
I can
right,
hold
it's-
her up next to the button so she can touch it.
Yeah. Just kind of like, here you go, Hex, kill somebody. See how that works out for your psyche.
finally.
All of a sudden, Hex turns into a giant murderer.
Oh my god, I really enjoyed
Hey!
that.
No.
It appears there's a difference between like sitting in a van and being shot at and being unconscious and actually killing someone.
I would
She
like
might
to
like it.
register my opinion that there shouldn't be any giant murderers.
We know.
Well, I mean, I personally think that if anybody's going to be a giant murderer, you got to step up to the plate. So use that karma to buy up your quality.
Does that sound like a
We
plan
could all-
that we move through with a Schrodinger's ending where we're gonna get paid and we're gonna get our karma? Dante, any idea what would happen after that? And then if Hex decides that Hex wants to go on some crazy adventure to try and save this person, we'll just tweak it a little.
Yeah, it just really comes down to what happens to the girl, right? Everything else is pretty much established at this moment.
I believe so.
Sounds it.
So you probably would have just gotten paid at the end of whenever you were talking to him last. And then the difference is you either drop off the body or you don't. So
Can we, given that Rot has like some medical knowledge, and we're trying to put a pin in this anyway, can we put that thing into like some kind of suspended animation to where she's no longer tormented but doesn't have to be killed yet?
I don't know if 9 dice in medicine is enough to do that.
I also don't think that there's anything that science can do for her currently, seeing as how she is a vegetable
I
by
feel like she's
medical
already.
standards.
I feel like she's already kind of in that state. Like to all of his readings, she was legally dead, like brain dead, and now it's like, oh wait, on second thought, surprise.
Yeah, I don't think Rod would like to touch her sort of anymore since like there's nothing literally he can do, and all his like hinging his decision on is like Hex and maybe Ali saying something. So I don't know. Well, and there's sim recording.
Yeah. So how many dollars did that break out to a piece?
It's
Billion.
3,800.
put that one in as techno troubles.
I'm putting that in as of Vegiemancers.
All right. I think I like that one. So the guidelines for how to award karma don't really work for this mission?
Yeah, they kind of aren't great anyway.
What do you think we earned with all our heavy roleplay in and out of the stream and emotional development?
Exactly, the professional level of like drama and suspense.
Do you have any thoughts, Bamce? You've seen this a lot more than me.
Well, it did take us, what, 2.5 sessions?
We're just starting our third now.
Okay, so it's like 2 full sessions. So things that go into my thought process in this situation is we were lower on the monetary payment, and we did do the nice thing. Like, we could have been like, you know what, screw it, you're a vegetable, you're legally not really a person, so let's just go ahead and commit your life to at least 2 more months of hell for this experimentation. So that kind of pushes up the karma reward a little
Well, there was this thing that he was going to make more better BioWare for a lot of people, so that would also be in a way a nice thing.
Yeah.
That was kind of his idea, but there are too many variables. For one, he still had a couple of months left of to go, and things could have gone horribly wrong. You know, it could have taken a turn for the worse at the end. It could have relied on the fact that this person was a technomancer, which is the only reason that for whatever random ass thing he did that was slightly different worked out better, so that it wouldn't be widely marketable. The corporations could get wind of it and have him murdered.
Oh, so there is like a clearly better and worse option. Cool. It sort of didn't sound like that, but okay.
Weren't we gonna try to sell the research data to somebody who would wideband it to help forestall that conclusion?
Not even sell it, just
So here's the thing. Who are you? You're nobody. The corporations own the Matrix. They run everything. God is somebody that they have contracts with. So sure, you could throw this data out there on the Matrix to be free. But what happens when it's scrubbed? What happens when you put it back up there and some corporation's like, you know what? We don't want people having this, so I'm going to hire a Shadowrunner team to go find the people that keep putting this up on the Matrix and kill them because profits. You know, it is a lot easier for them to discredit the work. They could, who are you? You are nobody. I am Evo. I am Ares. I am whatever. Here's my official head of whatever writing a paper that straight up says, no, that stuff doesn't work. It's a lie. It's a scam. And here's why.
And there aren't enough people who would access the Matrix and potentially get this information that wouldn't believe that sort of thing, that might also pursue the research for their own ends.
How much stuff on the internet today do you think people go around pursuing?
And in retrospect, the Big Ten own the Matrix. I mean, they made the Matrix. They could make it disappear because nobody really knows how the Matrix works now.
But you can download it.
You could put it on a chip, yeah.
And work from there.
In effect, the most you could probably hope for is it reaching a very small section of people that might try to do something with it. But the Big Ten, having the access and resources that they have, could just go ahead and murder everyone that actually downloads it for how small of a group that would be that could actually make any difference.
Part of it is setting. Shadowrun is a dystopian cyberpunk setting where it's, you know, it's a shitty world. And it's a shitty life. The rich get richer, the poor struggle to survive. So, in setting a like sunshine and flowers and rainbows for everybody is not something that exists. It is,
But doesn't there exist a Decker quality that is specifically built around making information free and publishing it?
and it's a negative quality. Because what happens when your Shadowrunner team finds out that you've been broadcasting all of your runs? They don't work with you anymore. At best. They likely put you in the ground. Probably ruins your rep because they can't trust you to not, like, let me record everything I'm doing. Oh crap, I got busted by the cops. I have a giant pile of evidence that screws over 4 other people.
Hmm.
You certainly could broadcast the information. There's nothing stopping you from doing it. But yeah, it's trying to fight the tide of the Big Ten.
Suppose we just send it to something like, I don't know, whatever the equivalent of like Stanford and MIT and,
Ironically, the best way to get it out there to help people is to give it to a Big Ten and let them perfect it and then sell it.
And I'm pretty sure all of the respected educational institutions are at least partly owned by the megas.
Somewhere in there, they got somebody on a board of trustees, even if it's just like an honorary thing, kind of like Leonard Nimoy or William Shatner. Some Star Trek person has honorary membership at some college about some space stuff.
Wait a second. This is genetically identical flesh that's being cloned.
Doesn't the Draco Foundation have some kind of bounty for being able to produce meat that ghouls can eat that doesn't involve dead humans?
It does. However, there is nothing saying that this would actually like meet their dietary requirements. There's a
Well,
little bit more to it than
basically,
just flesh.
It's an essence thing.
I mean, it sounds like this would be like, oh, and Sue's gone. It sort of sounds like it's a totally another run to try to make it public sufficiently that it stays public. Sort of, maybe.
That would probably be much more than one run. That's probably something you would have to upkeep over the course of many runs. Not the focus of a run, but attention that you need to pay to it as you progress. And even then, that's inviting a lot of attention that Shadowrunners don't typically.
Still, that's actually like a cool question. Like, would that be like worth karma? Trying to, for example, let's say we are a Pink Mohawk group that wants, like, to make this particular piece of data public, and we want to fight the Big Ten and stuff like that, and we have to do it over the course of multiple downtimes and stuff. Do you get karma for that, or like, how do you?
You could, like, if it's something that you're doing for like the job as opposed to just like making rolls in downtime, you would probably not get any new, but you would probably get a bunch of karma for it because you're, trying to make the world a better place and do nice guy things. But it's one of those things, the more you piss off the megas, you put it out there once and they're like, all right, whatever, and they just get it taken down. You put it out there twice, it's like, all right, now I might have to have one of my experts say something and then get it taken down. And you put it out there like a third time, it's like, all right, clearly these fraggers are not getting the picture. Let's handle some business here. because
Rather than getting killed, why don't we get somebody image conscious, like Horizon, to sponsor us?
They're a PR company. They can make whatever dirty deeds they do disappear.
so
Oh wow, but that's like besides the point. Let's make someone sponsor us, give us loads of money and stuff.
But it's easier for them to take credit for good deeds that are actually happening.
so each of the megas has their own like SEAL Team 6. Ares has Firewatch. Red Raku has the Red Samurai. Horizon has the Dawkins Group. Nobody really knows who the Dawkins Group is. And while the other people will kill you, the Dawkins Group will make it so that you never existed.
Unless they benefit by you existing.
True, but how much do they really benefit from you? Because, like, what, like, Street Cred 4, 5? Not really, like, breaking down the
So,
barriers.
being a Shadowrunner, we really like kind of being anonymous and inconsequential. And you're not going to be sponsored by a megacorp by being anonymous and inconsequential?
Well, we would be anonymous. We would no longer be inconsequential. But it sounds like what you're saying is that this is beyond us at this point.
There is a reason that the corporate center negative quality is worth 25 karma, and it mentions in it that other runners will likely never work with you, never trust you, and perhaps even kill you. If you were to pitch it to the group right now about, hey, let's go work for a Big Ten. I know Allie's out.
That's not really what I was thinking.
I mean, it's kind of like part of what you were saying, right? Being sponsored and stuff.
Right. I wasn't thinking about becoming corporate citizens, though.
Well,
It's sort of one of the situations, if I read it correctly, when you're doing well enough that the corp wants to have you on your permanent payroll, and you're their private Shadowrunner, I guess. That's what you were saying?
No. I was just thinking, hey, these people are doing good things, and they've allowed us to put out press releases for it, so we're gonna.
Wouldn't it
And
just
we're
be
gonna pick up some
easier?
cash along the way.
Wouldn't it just be easier to kill us and take the research? I mean,
Easier, but it wouldn't look better.
but they could
No
just bury it.
one's
That's the
ever
thing.
gotten to be a top 10 power in the world as a whole by being overly beneficial to the world as a whole. They are profit margins, they are bottom lines, they just happen to do it by looking good to the public. Which is why the Dawkins Group doesn't just outright murder you, they just make you go away and nobody ever remembers you.
which is terrifying.
Or they take credit for your good deeds, and if they can do that with your complicity, that makes it easier for them.
Why do they need your complicity?
Plus,
would
I
that
don't
be
think it
easier?
makes it easier because you're a variable. You can change your mind, you can go haywire, you can do all sorts of things that they cannot exactly control. So it's way easier to sort of try to, make you their own, or make your ideas their own, which they can control then.
So, even if we somehow manage to be able to get someone high enough up at Horizon to care to pay attention to us, that is also entirely benevolent and willing to push forward our good intentions up to his superiors and not vie for promotions or anything like that. And if that entire chain works out in our favor to the point where somebody actually wants to pick this up, then even if they are completely benevolent and are willing to, awesome, you guys have a great idea, we don't matter to them at all. We didn't come up with the research. We're just handing them a piece of paper. The doctor, they're going to have better, smarter people on their payroll. Maybe best case scenario, they hire him and they ignore us. But that's if the doctor wants to go along with it, right? He was doing this to benefit people and mankind as a whole.
Whoa, that's a good angle. I mean, besides everything you were talking about, because I wasn't really listening, but you said if the doctor wants to be hired, maybe he won't. and then he's screwed.
I mean, his other option is being murdered by the organized crime that he owes money to.
I know, but what if he's this like ideologically consistent person, you know, who'll
And he
die?
dies. We gave the offer.
Okay. So I guess like we should pick. Okay, so I guess it's like time for Dante to game master our way through what happens with the doctor. I guess no, I don't know.
I would also like to hear how much karma we got.
Yeah, I thought
Oh,
we were
true,
talking
true.
about character advancement.
True.
Yeah. So I guess we can go back to that. How long looking at it, the Larry job, we got 12 for that.
But
We
no
also
money.
got paid better.
I don't know why
Well-
I pulled up my character sheet to look, because obviously...
Yeah. Overall, we got paid better because we worked out a deal with Leon and Matilda.
hmm But that was... whatchamacallit? That was on you guys to facilitate the extra money in there. Like, I already kind of had in my mind what I was going to pay you guys for that. Air quotes on the pays. You guys managed to find a way to make more money.
Okay.
So, that's on you. Theoretically, selling this pay data to somebody who's then probably going to sell it to a mega could be a potential way to earn some more money, but that's on you guys, because clearly we don't want to be selling it if we're going to be handing this guy over to somebody,
We don't.
because that
Well,
makes
it
him
sort of
significantly less
undermines
valuable.
his. Yeah.
How much did we get for the Larry run? Because I only have the karma.
I think
Like
you guys.
with the body, like
I've got
4,800.
4,800.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I'm
now
probably
we got-
thinking somewhere around 13 karma for this job. Does that feel reasonable, Bamce? Is it low, high?
It feels mostly reasonable. Like, this was there was a lot of interesting roleplay that came out of it. Sadly, not all of it made it to camera because we have little chats. But that was
Yeah.
also important, and there was a lot of character drama between the oh god, what do we do? That kind of stuff.
Personally, I'd say just round up to 14. Nice even number.
That sounds like you need one more.
No, I don't. I'm not. I don't think so.
Well, I have 2 left over, so I would say it evens out to 15. And if you give me a 14, it's like a 16, and there's like a 16. That's a weird number.
13 it is then.
17 is a prime number.
But 13 is a lucky number.
20 looks awesome. Like, there's like a strong number. 20. It's like, wow.
Yeah, I agree
Not
with
to un-
13. That sounds good.
Not to undermine my own argument, but 13 is also a prime number.
It's a prime
Damn
number.
it.
Wait a second.
So 16 it is, right?
Exactly, 13.
All right.
And then I guess we should talk about role-playing bonuses.
Yeah, you all get the same as Dante, who didn't participate, so that's a big fat goose egg.
Damn.
Oh man, you're like a harsh game master. Like no rewards for you guys, like heavy role players. You know how much we wrote?
To be
like,
fair-
in
Hang on a
between
second.
chat.
I
I'm
did.
adding a goose egg to my inventory.
delicious.
You
That
never
would
know.
be actually worth a lot, I suppose.
I
They're
did
tough to
give,
come by.
like, you could probably just give Dante the same resources, because that's what I gave Allie. It's just like, boom, here, have a giant pile of stuff.
It's okay.
I mean, at the end of the day, it's not gonna, keep you from being shot in the head by a sniper.
That is true.
I thought we smoothed things over with Leon and Matilda.
For now, who knows?
Okay.
There are other snipers out there in the world.
See, this is the thing, Bamps. When I was like, I should think about rolling up another character, and for when it's my time to dodge the sniper, you were like, no, you're good with the sniper. But 5 minutes beforehand, you were like, oh, you never know when a sniper's gonna come. You probably shouldn't plan your character out too long.
So, like, it's one of those things. On the RPG boards, people will be or on the D&D boards, people will be talking about going like X one class, Y another class for their like level 20 build, and it's like, why are you doing that? I mean, in D&D,
Yeah, I don't really get that because like I don't know who gets further than level 7, so
well, in D&D it makes more sense because no matter what happens when you get to that next level, these are always the rewards that you're going to get for leveling up. Whereas in Shadowrun, you just get Karma and Nuyen to do different things. Like you may come up down the line with a run that it's like, oh shit, I this one specific spell or one specific piece of gear or something along those lines could make this a lot easier. That is worth the investment, and it was something that you didn't originally intend on um, picking up. Like there was a run I did where I was playing a Mystic Adept that was a ninja, and we found some plot level poison that was like contact and super lethal, but really expensive. So I was like, you know what? I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna try and learn the antidote spell because I don't want to accidentally touch this stuff and then kill myself. That sounds like a bad idea. Let me just kind of, hope that this will help. And
well, I'm just thinking that like I haven't advanced my character in so long that I could easily spend all of the karma that I have saved up plus convert everything we got from that last run and like retroactively the last two and still have stuff I want.
yeah, no, that's one of the great things about Shadowrun is there's so much crap. Like, I have a list of support spells that I send out to people. It's like, look, these are like I don't know what spells to get. I'm like, if it is on this list, it is not a bad choice, and it's like 30 to 50 spells. I don't know how many is on it.
Right. But like for a while I've been talking about how I wanted to initiate.
Yeah.
And I was looking at that again. I'm pretty sure you need Arcana to do that.
Yep. It's an Arcana test.
Yeah, which is kind of weird. I saw people like
So-
arguing about it because, it's weird for shamans to be using Arcana for stuff like
Oh.
initiation since
Arcana is like spellcraft and magical knowledge, and
in a way, yes, but it would be, I think, assumed that shamans take it from like somewhere else than actual like knowledge.
Shamans have some sort of arcane knowledge. They have some sort of magical theory. I don't subscribe to the argument that I should be able to get away with it without the same way a mage would.
You still got to know your craft, and
Yeah,
at the end of the day,
you know something, even if it's not the same way somebody else knows it. You still have like a body of what you've tried that works and what you understand about the spirit world, and what initiation means to you. It makes sense.
I don't really want to like argue, but I'd say like mechanically, it's a little bit of a problem since the test is way harder, like for people with logic, high logic, and like low logic. So
what if instead of calling it Arcana, I called it Shamanism?
it's a
no, but
it's a plus intuition test for initiation.
What's that?
Initiation is a plus intuition test.
Oh, fuck. All right, so there's 11 things I need now.
So I mixed it up with something. Huh.
I mean, Arcana is normally a logic-based skill, but in the case of initiation, is Arcana plus intuition.
Well, here you are, Rod. Stop saying stuff you know nothing about.
Yeah, let's
Um,
all listen to the rigor about magic.
Yeah, what is he
Yeah.
doing?
I had past lives, man. It's so weird.
Um,
Let's
so
just say I accept the need for Arcana, and I hadn't previously thought about it before, so I've got a pretty long list.
no, that's fine.
Yeah, and this is actually quite a useful skill for a magic user. I had nothing, and I could, you
It's
can like recognize spells and stuff, and it's awesome.
yeah, it's actually a magic-related skill that mundanes can pick up as well. To kind of like identify
Really?
spells. Yeah,
Hmm.
You could be like a professor.
No, I was more thinking about like in terms of Rod's paranoia of magic and stuff.
yeah.
Might be useful. I don't know.
So, since we've kind of moved into character advancement, is there anything character advancement wise you guys wanted to talk about? Not like rolling for gear and stuff, because we'll do that off camera. But I know Sue has mentioned has a laundry list of things that he wants. What about the rest of you guys?
Well,
Nick?
go ahead.
Go ahead. Go ahead. Go ahead.
I mean, a lot of it is for me was trying to figure out what my primary role is in the team. I actually talked to Dante. He said that I'm sort of the tank, like as close to a tank as we have.
You have many
in this
body.
team. Many body. So yeah, that's why I wanted to look at Mystic Armor and get a couple, just 2 dice out of that. I'm not exactly sure where I would get more out, add more to my soak.
Well, let me pull up your character sheet real quick and take a look at it. For one thing, you are only Magic 4.
Yeah, I'm planning on upping that. That's that I'm looking at quick draw for a tattoo or rapid draw for a tattoo. I wanted to get killing hands and then go into transmit damage.
That power's not good.
It's not.
So
It reads wonderful.
You have to deal physical damage to transfer damage, and you must have taken physical damage. The way that this system works out, how much physical damage have you taken since we've been playing?
Okay, yeah.
And keep in mind, you then need to hit somebody and do physical damage to them.
Like with the way that everything deals like either very much damage or negligible damage. That's the thing.
Killing hands, on the other hand, is great because it allows you to hurt spirits barehanded, and they don't get any armor; they just get their body to absorb damage.
Yeah.
But you could easily spend 25 karma to raise your magic to 5, and that'll give you a full power point you can spend on stuff. And there's all kinds of stuff you could spend that on.
Yeah. I mean, right now, I have just on my list, aside from Mystic Armor, Killing Hands, Traceless Walk, Wall Running, Counter Strike, Nimble Fingers. And I'm not. A lot of the other powers, I'm not. Like, I looked through them, they just didn't have any appeal to me, but, if you with your. All your knowledge and stuff.
I mean, when you put it that way. There's a lot of different powers that can be situationally useful. Things like facial sculpt is great because it's, you know, a disguise that isn't something that could come off. And it's something that you can just like, uh-oh, I'm being followed. Let me go around this corner, spend 2 seconds to change the way my face looks, and not, let me sit this case down, open it up, take out my disguise kit, try and change what I look like, that kind of thing. Um, the attribute boost powers, agility is not bad, and body is occasionally very useful because
I have the agility. The body could work, yeah.
um, that is the attribute boost powers only increase your dice pools, and soak is a dice pool test. So you could boost your body to get up to 4 more soak dice, which isn't bad for a quarter point power, or to get it as like a key foci. The enhanced accuracy powers aren't terrible. Critical strike isn't terrible. Uh, Critical strike is actually one of the only ways to increase damage on a lot of different damage types.
Is supernatural toughness worth the cost of a 1 point per?
That is one of the ones that I would pick up, like, down the line. There's a lot of other powers that have that are higher on the tier list, like improved reflexes 3 would be something I put over top of supernatural prowess. I'm sorry, supernatural toughness. Some of the smaller, easier to use, like the facial sculpt thing, I would maybe pick that up as a key foci. The body boost I would consider as a key foci. Let me make this sheet here an adept, and I will take a look at it. I love Damara. Being able
Yeah,
to...
I had that last time, but like just thinking about it, I would need to know exactly what we're facing ahead of time and have, a couple hours to kill.
Only an hour.
No. It still seems like so up in the air,
Well, it sort of seems. It sounds like an hour up in the air, so it's a little less flexible. But it sounds kind of like what Dante's getting, like a little bit more skills and stuff.
It does also let you go watch crappy Tridio and be like, oh, no, guys, I know how to do this. I just watched a movie about it.
I just watched NCIS. I know how to hack.
Exactly. The improved physical attribute powers are pretty good. It's just, at which point do you want to... Because you already have the agility boost, so at what point do you want to kind of make that change? Improved ability is always good. It's a half a power point for an extra die in a thing. Some of the extra sensory powers could be nice to have.
Is there any way... Can you refund certain powers?
Sadly, there is not.
Okay. Yeah, I figured. Because if I could, swap out my improve or agility boost for improved agility, that would probably help a lot more. But, nah.
Scrolling through here. Nerve Strike is pretty great if you're into unarmed combat. Nimble Fingers is good. Pain Relief is an interesting one that I always kind of wanted to play around with, but I never got to. It's Mr. Miyagi, which is kind of cool.
At some point, I might do a Adept Paladin class, but...
I had a lot of fun with Smashing Blow.
Yeah, I was looking at that one.
My adept had supernatural prowess, which allowed you to switch your magic and initiate grade for her strength. so she would punch walls for 26p. It's kind of great. And then things like wall running and hang time are also kind of neat for additional options. As far
Style
as
point.
style points, very important. But man, somebody didn't put their fire escape in the alleyway down. Let me just parkour up this wall and grab that.
Yeah, I was thinking for when Leon got up to the roof.
Yeah,
If I had like ultrasound, I could have gone after him.
if you had like ultrasound and wall running, you totally could have got up there quickly.
Just grab a Segway with gecko tip tires.
Or
You're good.
or that. So I'm gonna leave you think on that for a little while as we move on to, I don't know. Let's talk to Dante for a second, because you just bought skill wires and skill jacks, right?
I did.
Yeah. Why was that?
Well, I keep looking over at how much or how many different skills there are. Like it's huge. And I just want everything.
I need
And
it all.
Exactly. And I neglected to actually, like, I didn't realize how strong the Jack of all trades quality was going to be on the front end.
Oh, it's busted.
It really is. So I figured I wanted to try out the skill jacks and skill wires things as an alternate way of progressing, but then I was also looking at the Skillsoft Network subscriptions.
I was gonna ask if you picked that up.
I did. And it is really expensive. In the short term, it's worth a lot more than trying to pick up so many different things. So I figured I would try it out, and if I don't like it, then I'm only out a month or two of the subscription. It's not that big of a deal, because I was eventually going to go for skill wires and stuff anyway. So rather than saving up over the course of the next 5 or 10 runs to buy rating 6s, I just pulled rating 2 on each of them and then grabbed them on subscription.
Yeah.
Now, is that something like, for example, let's say potentially Dante picks up skill wires and it turns out to be way less useful than he thought. Do you ever consider like giving him a hand, like I don't know, making a run out of trying to get subscription less subscription, for example, or something, even like if it doesn't impact the game that much, or do you just let him? You pick the choice. You made the thing. It's
So
your fault.
here's the thing about skill wires and skill jacks, especially with the subscription. Dante now knows every language in existence.
Not just every language. I have every knowledge skill you could think of.
Yeah. I just went with the
Well-
language because that's like immediately like something
Yeah.
super impactful.
Every language that has ever existed or will ever exist in the space of a couple seconds, I now speak it.
You may not speak it well because you only have a rating 2 for now, but the active skills portion of the skill wire skill jack setup is actually the least important aspect of it.
Yeah.
Like the knowing the language is like the second most important aspect of it. The having access to more or less any knowledge skill he could ever want, pretty important. Pretty strong. Because he could just be like, oh, this guy was talking about something magical. Hold on, let me just flutter my eyes for a second as I download Matrix style the ability to know about magical stuff, and then roll some dice, and suddenly, oh, this is what I know.
Yeah. Like, I probably would want to keep the lowest level subscription either way. Right now,
how much is the lowest level one?
2,000 per
Yeah,
month.
That's nothing.
No. But I wanted to try out with the skill wires as well, so I'm paying the 10,000 per month one.
Yeah.
Just to try it out.
Yeah, no, you can get all kinds of interesting skills out of that. Like explosives.
Yeah.
Um, they can do some crazy stuff, and it's great. And if memory serves, you dumped like all of your karma into Nuyen to be able to afford those.
Oh yeah, every single job I've converted.
So now we have the two big ones. What about Rod or Sue? Who wants to talk about character advancement stuff first?
So,
I've got a lot. So I guess my first question would be, since I haven't really been doing any advancement, I haven't been doing any converting.
Right.
Can I like retroactively do that?
Maybe like one run retroactively, just because it's like kind of intended to be done at the time. You know.
Okay, so that's like yeah, probably about 8. So 4 points of karma. The other thing I was thinking was I'm doing some things in preparation for this initiation thing that
Mm-hmm.
I'm thinking is at least one more run off
Okay.
and takes a long time. So maybe I shouldn't care about that so much. Um, so I think out of all of the things that I have on my list, um, I would be looking at Arcana to 3, spellcasting to 6, learning physical barrier, summoning to 6, and that would leave me 1.
That's a lot.
Yep.
That's a you did a lot more thinking on things than I thought you were gonna. How much? Good.
Well, I have a lot more than that. My other options were uh, the possibility of taking spellcasting to 7, picking up magical theory knowledge at something, learning improved invisibility at Jet's request, taking agility to 3 for 15 points, which I would want to do alongside getting unarmed at least up to 1 for 2 points, and maybe scaling Arcana back to just 2, which would be 4 points and would save me 6.
Spellcasting 7 is um, a kind of an important breakpoint because of the way perceiving magic works.
Okay. 2.
It allows you to cast Force 1 spells without people noticing.
That'll give me 6 back and 0, and that goes to 7. And then I would have to leave summoning where it was, and I'd have 5 that I could use to either pick up invisibility or unarmed and banishing 1.
I just posted in our Discord chat the details about supernatural prowess and stuff.
4 plus 14 plus 5, 18. That's actually 23.
Somebody's doing math, so we'll bother Rot for a second. What's Rot thinking about doing?
well, I like to make problems. So the first problem I sort of stepped on was how insignificant every run was when it came to like my role. So I have like what electronic warfare, piloting, like 3 different types of piloting at level 6.
Hmm.
Mechanic groups, which are expensive to upgrade, and then all sort of like lesser skills, like I don't know, first aid, possible piloting walker. What else? Like automatics to sometimes shoot myself, which I didn't do, but I maybe plan to.
It's one of those things that,
Uh,
a few points is worth it if you find yourself in the situation where, oh shit, I need to shoot a gun.
yeah, exactly. There's like perception. I mean, there's like a shitload of skills, and it seems to me like it's really insignificant when I get like 13 karma, and then I have to wait another run to get one more dice in electronic warfare or pilot groundcraft or something. Plus, there's the other side of that because of the conversion system you got, like the karma for Nui and
Hmm.
stuff. I have a lot of money to spend. Like if I want,
Yeah.
I mean, it's really convenient to buy another drone and have it do new stuff for me. But then you can also destroy it so easily that it's like I don't know. I always like think 3 times before buying a drone. Like, oh, would it really hurt me if I just spent 20,000 nuyen for this drone and it just blew up? Hmm. It's really useful. Oh, this drone is very useful if I buy something else. But should I buy it since it might blow up?
Well, I always like to recommend that people keep their drones expendable. Um,
Which is what I try to do. Which is why Dante asked me like if I have low light vision on my drones. I was even like, oh right, I can do that. I already forgot because I wanted to make everything so expendable.
I think they come with some kind of
They have a sensor suite equal to their rating in it, right?
yeah, they come with
Yes,
some sensors for free, so you can that
they
can
have like a sensor 8 because you guys rolled that I can like get the same sensor array on every one, so I just sort of went with what I have on my van.
right.
But low light vision doesn't come with that. It's just a camera. There's like ultrasound and shit, but just seeing stuff is just normal camera.
Ultrasound is pretty good.
Well, it is, but it doesn't allow you to see colors and stuff. So when, for example, there's like one specific situation which I was looking at the private investigator in the shadows, it was useless because I could see him with every sort of single sensor array skill, but nothing about him.
If it makes you feel any better, I don't think low light lets you see colors anyway. I think it's black and white, where thermal is like oranges and blues and things.
Really, I was under the impression that low light gives you like better vision and lower light, which is like a normal vision, while thermographic is like you can see in darkness, but it's only like stuff.
Thermographic
Like,
is based off of heat,
well, yeah,
so that would be like the oranges and blues and that kind of stuff. Whereas like low light vision would be more um,
It's like night vision.
that like
Everything's
gray or
washed out.
green
Yeah.
night vision stuff.
well, coming back to my original point, I feel like I get either we're doing the good guy thing way too often, so that I get paid really low money, so I have almost none, or plus there's like so I mentioned drones, I mentioned skills. There's also cyberware I want to get, which is like super expensive usually. Um, I mean, damn. So, like, in terms of drones, I was thinking about the sewer snake drone. I was thinking about pimping out my shooting drones, which managed to survive. Uh, I have a problem with what I should get on my drones, like what kind of weapon is best, because right now I sort of followed your lead on engrams and stuff, just for like suppressive fire, but I'm not exactly sure if that's because that makes my drone pretty insignificant when it comes to actually hurting people.
You could always like pick up another rotor drone with a weapon mount on it, and then just kind of like
This is the one I want to hurt people with.
equip it as per the job's needs. Like maybe throw an assault rifle on it or a sniper rifle on it or something along those lines.
Yeah, well, also that's the thing. An expense like that would cost me like what, 8,000 nuyen for a drone and a system and everything. And we only get like what, 3 to 4, let's say 5,000 nuyen per run. Which, if I convert, I get, let's say, 15. But then I don't get to get my skills very high.
So what you're telling me is you want harder runs that pay more money.
Sounds like you gotta
Uh,
kill some people.
Well, I'm saying just like, everything's nice and cool. Plus, I've got like a lot of drones, and I've made myself really useful with like looking at stuff. And I've got like 5 surveillance drones right now. But I don't know. I was thinking more about like buying an anthro drone of some kind.
Like a secretar?
Hmm. I don't. I got distracted there for a moment. They're like cool samurai cutting drones and stuff, but I feel like getting an answer drone and Pilot Walker shoehorns you into being a sit in the van rigger that sort of sits there and uses an answer drone to walk with everyone else. I don't know. Like it feels like it's very dependent on the game master. So to boil it down, I have like a lot of doubts, and I'm just sort of picking whatever I can afford at the moment, and sort of preparing before they run. So I usually have a lot of free cash floating around before I buy a drone.
Some of it is um, using skills offensively. Like you mentioned, you have all of those engineering skills. So you could use them to sabotage things. I think we talked about it with the Texas Red situation where you were gonna like alter his bike and blow it up on him because you have the automotive mechanic skill.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but I'm pretty sure nobody here is gonna say that they didn't feel like you've pulled your weight.
What again? What?
It's funny because then nobody said anything. So
If you went all A team, I would be fantastically okay with it.
elaborate.
Well, he has all these
Yeah.
engineering skills. He could just build things that we may need in situ or trick out his van to be some sort of nightmarish, temporarily, like a ramming vehicle or just wherever your imagination can take us.
Well, I was thinking about having like a turret, but you know, a turret on a van is like nightmarishly expensive because you have to buy like a special weapon mount, and I'm assuming it's going to be like a retracting weapon, since I don't want to have like the police looking at my van all the time. Like, what the hell is this dude going on riding around the city with a tank?
Is it you have a bulldog?
Yeah.
Looking through my Nuyen list, including trading the karma for Nuyen, I've made just about 100,000 Nuyen so far, which buys you a whole lot of stuff. You really
Well,
just have
that's
to.
if you that's when you convert the Nuyen, the karma to Nuyen all the time. And I sort of didn't. I went with the skills more. I upgraded a couple of skills, maybe.
Yeah.
But that's a good point that maybe the money is better than the Nuyen, the karma for now.
Yeah, you just got to look at what your method of character advancement is going to wind up being. Like, as a rigger, Nuyen's going to mean a lot to you. It means some more augments. It means more drones. It means more weapons and toys. The skills that you've been using you're rolling pretty good dice in already, so increasing the skills in and of itself probably not going to have a huge bang for the buck versus getting that extra +2 logic if you didn't get it.
Except
Or
edge, which I found a lot of people say is kind of broken, since the more edge you have, the more you can use it and the more you can add to your skills. Like if you have like 5 edge, you can use it 5 times to add 5 dice to stuff.
Don't
Which
you already
is-
have more edge than any of us?
Yes, that's precisely the point. But I could have even more than more.
It also depends on whether or not you count Allie in that situation.
Oh, right. Allie has attributes and stuff,
Mm-hmm.
Huh.
not only cat ears.
Sure does.
Bamce,
Yo.
is there any reason to have the knowledge skill magical theory along with the active skill arcana?
Probably not. They sound like really, really close in what their applications would be.
The last run we were on when you were talking about Allie's
Stuff.
funk, you said maybe if you had magical theory knowledge or something.
I would
So
have
wrote
taken
it down.
I would have taken an Arcana roll in that situation too.
Okay.
Oh, right. There's also the question of thematic upgrades. Like I was thinking about actually advancing Rod in some kind of magical knowledge, since he's so paranoid about mind magic and stuff. But how do you do that? Do I actually put skills in Arcana or like some kind of theoretical? Because I guess even if you don't have like actually direct defenses against mind magic, and you cannot get those except like upgrading your mental attributes.
Well, you
How
could
would
wait
you-
for
how-
me to learn Arcana, and then I could teach it to you.
Yeah.
Yeah,
The one
for
you're
now, I
afraid
kind
of
of
doing
fear
things.
you. For now, I kind of fear Sue. So I don't think, when we're at the point that you can actually teach me stuff about magic, I feel like there won't be any point of me learning stuff about magic. But for now, it sort of looks like this.
When
So-
I said I could teach you, I meant I could leadership or artisan you into knowing it.
Instruction.
Yeah, I know.
You
But
could
that's
just-
a paranoia thing.
You could
Dante
just
now
download stuff.
also has instruction and magical knowledge.
You could go to what amounts to an online night course at a digital college to learn stuff. Because
I could also just introduce you to my talismonger.
Sure, I
Or
mean,
you
I
could
know,
learn it-
I know, I know the ways to get stuff. I was only
Or you
thinking
could
about like
from the
sort of
moment.
mechanically which one to take. Which one would it be, like magical theory, just general, or like spell recognizing, or I don't know.
You'd probably want to take Arcana if you had the karma to spend 2 per rank, or you could take Magical Theory Knowledge if you wanted to take 1 per rank.
That's what I kind of wanted to ask, like the person currently sort of leading the game, because it will be their interpretation, sort of what I can do with the skill. As Bam said, they are pretty similar.
Or what you could do is if you had 8 karma, you could take 1 rank in Magical Theory and a specialization in spell recognition.
In
Right.
effect, that would wind up getting him less dice, though, right? Like if we're
No,
just
then
talking
you-
about math.
Then you'd have 3 to specifically recognize spells, whereas getting 3 ranks in Arcana would take 12.
Oh, okay.
Sorry,
Um,
I was eating Annie Ann's pretzels.
So I've got my thing pretty much worked out. I've got 3 karma left that I kind of wanted to put into knowledge skills. Does anybody have any recommendations as to things that I should know that I do not currently know?
Boundaries.
Your place.
I feel like that's etiquette and also caring.
Oh, that's actually right. I have like 8 logic. I can know stuff really easily. Are there any like knowledge skills that I've been missing as a rigger, sort of? Maybe? I don't know.
I just dropped a giant link in our chat. That's by no means exhaustive, but it is extensive.
In all seriousness, I would recommend maybe Magical Theory.
I'm already doing Arcana.
Okay. I'm not
So-
sure if there's crossover, like you can substitute.
Um,
the latter
so
for the former.
what I'm gonna end up doing is Arcana to 3, spellcasting to 7, learn physical barrier, and I have 3 points left, which I had intended to put into knowledge skills because I don't think going unarmed 1 is gonna help until I have the 15 to take agility up to 3 at least.
That sounds reasonable.
Is there a particular reason why my engineering skill group is at 3 and it sort of is grayed out all the time? How much would it take to raise a group from 3 to 4?
20.
But it doesn't show the cost. Okay, so I wait till I have 20 and then maybe it will work again.
Yeah, I don't know because it's on Chummer, so I don't have it like in front of me to see.
All right. Now, a cool question would be: do you have any drones you remember you found really cool, like of note? Because I found the sewer snake. There are like a couple of turrets I would maybe want to get stuff, all over the place. But
Well, I did look to get a concealed fixed weapon mount, like a heavy weapon mount on your van, would be 8,000 nuyen.
heavy
Does that
weapon
include a
mount,
weapon?
and then because it gets more when it's like a turret mount, when it's sort of like can spin, if I'm correct. Like the spinning is expensive and the hiding is expensive in its own right.
The turret flexibility is another 5,000.
Yeah. Well, it'll get a cone of fire, but not a true turret. And you could put one on the front and one in the back. For like
All right,
25,000
more
total.
turrets.
All of the turrets.
I was also thinking, like, because there are no actual rules for that, but I really like the idea. There's this super cool big truck that's like a drone army truck. I don't know if you remember, I put a picture sometime before. And it has this system described when it has like rails all over the place, and it has like 6 or like 3 drone turrets that sort of slide around it.
I believe it's
They
the
can
health
hide.
mount.
Yeah. So I felt like I really liked that idea, but there are no rules on putting rails on your van, so it's like impossible to do? Or would it be possible?
I can look into some stuff, but
Because I really like the idea of like the turrets driving out of my van and them actually being drones themselves. They could act of their own will.
right.
So I could be like driving and they could be shooting stuff still.
Isn't there a rail-mounted drone?
Yes, but there are no rules for mounting rails on your van.
That's
Isn't a
relatively
rail on his
small one.
van something he could just sort of like jury rig?
I mean,
Yeah.
I'll look into some of the specifics, but
Yeah, that was my idea of a retractable turret, so to make rails that allow the turret to get out and in the van and stuff like that. So
the
maybe
problem you would run into is the rail would always be there.
true, but is the rail something really suspicious in it of itself? Couldn't it be like disguised as a part of the drone, like the van aesthetics or something?
Maybe that's where some of the stuff has to be looked into, like how much that would cost and that kind of thing.
Exactly. So yeah, I'm definitely looking into the making my van a tank. But I was more thinking about like allowing a couple of drones to slide around in my van and allow them to shoot stuff of their own accord.
So one other option I'm looking at is for the price of 2 turrets, not including the guns, you could buy a steel lynx and just launch that when you want to mess stuff up.
Steel Lynx was this kind of like wheel driving tank drone, sort of.
Yeah, but it's speed 4, handling 5. It could easily keep up and circle around your van.
The thing is, also, like, I have this weird hammer space van in which everything fits. Like, you can fit a dead girl with like a whole steel sleeve and a giant and a few people and drones and stuff, and it still drives. Like,
Well,
how much can I fit inside without, like, the game master finally saying, "Stop! This has to end."
Well, we've been farming out your space too, right? So you and Sue were sitting up front, and then Ali was riding with Jet. Jet has his own bike. Dante has his own bike. So what's in the back other than Hex and your gear?
Well, I have a lot of gear. I have like what, 7 drones or something like that, and a steel lynx is the size of a dog or something. So there's
Couldn't
another
you
one.
get another van as like a drone launcher or a people carrier?
Totally could.
Mm-hmm.
I was thinking about getting another van for like people carrier. I could get one from Bob for like half the price. You know, you can handle yourselves.
The but you asked about drones that I really like. The proletariat isn't bad because it lets you do stuff for free, basically.
Yeah, I have that one. We bought that one when we
Yep.
wanted to make tattoos and stuff. So I have that one. It's cool. I really like that.
The dust off is a medevac drone. Just
Isn't it huge though?
it is a large flying drone, so it is not small, but it's a drone that's got a large bay that you can stick stuff in and fly it around.
You could totally use that to just air deliver your steel links.
Potentially.
That would be remarkably badass.
Yeah, like you just have a fucking hover drone carrying a steel lynx under it. It can either drop it off or evac people at your will.
Matilda has one. It's how she gets out of places.
Oh, okay, that's something I will look into. But a thing I was considering when I'm always considering this before laying out my hover drones. How conspicuous is it to like, because the Dostov is like a large flying drone and it's like flying all over the city. Isn't it suspicious at all, or I don't know?
It's definitely not subtle, but it's also not going to be like the only one of those things that's flying around in the sky. But if you're just swinging in to drop off or pick somebody up and get them out of there, you're not going to be there long enough for the people in the immediate area to be like, "Oh, that sure is hanging around a long time."
Okay,
Um,
okay.
you
How
could
much
all.
is the Dostov?
It's like 10 or 12
12K.
thousand.
I could buy one right now since I converted stuff. But I'm also looking into the Valkyrie module.
The medic drone.
I think it's just like a modification for your van or something.
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah.
So it turns it into like an ambulance or sort of.
Yeah, it's like an auto dock thingy.
Mm, yeah, only like slightly better. I think if you put someone in there, they just can't die and stuff like that. I don't know.
Yeah, off the top of my head, those are like the only drones that I really like. Yeah, these are really neat.
Steel Lynx also worth the trouble.
It's probably the beefiest drone that you're gonna be able to get your hands on easily.
It's
Okay.
the only one I've read that people are willing to actually put into combat and not just like take one shot and run away. But even then, it looks relatively fragile.
It's got 12 armor,
Drones do.
and that is like 12 vehicle armor, so you're gonna need a bunch of net hits from a pistol to really hurt it, or like APDS.
But okay, so I guess that's not a terrible choice for the rotor drones to be suppressive firing and then the links to actually do stuff.
Basically, yeah.
Okay, so I can go this route. So I'm gonna be buying myself either the dust off or the links. How much is the links? I can find it right now.
25. But it comes with a heavy weapon
20
mount.
what?
It comes with a heavy weapon mount, though, which is, 4 or 5,000.
But without a weapon.
Correct.
Mother. Okay, so the dust off comes first, and then after I get like 2 more runs, maybe I'll get the links.
Or you can just hold off on the dust off and get it after one more run.
Yeah, but it's like the new stuff feeling, It's just hard to hold off buying new stuff, especially when it's flying.
The the other option you have is to just kind of hold off and see what the next run requires, and then you can kind of go from there.
That's what I've been doing, kind of, like most of the time, holding off on money and then sort of beforehand asking you, oh, can I get this drone for like
Most
before we go?
most of them don't have like super high uh, availabilities and price tags, so they're not like really hard to get a hold of. So when you have like a couple of days to work with, it's easy to continue to try and get a thing.
One thing we were kind of speaking about was a joined hideout or something, like getting a place that we could sort of be a team in, not living all around the place, which is probably safer anyway.
Well, it's not a terrible idea to have a place that you could put like a shop of some kind in, so that you can, like, let's say you put an automotive shop in there if you needed to fix vehicles or make modifications, or like a medical shop because you guys keep getting shot up or have those kinds of problems.
I would be for that, but we would have to set it up in a way that we can bug out really quickly.
That you could burn it to the ground.
No, but I mean, like being able to take the valuable equipment with us.
That's the thing. If we're setting up a medical shop, I don't think that's an option. That's like if we get caught in there, it's sort of we have to run and leave it behind.
You could set it up in some sort of vehicle, though.
That's what I was also thinking about. I had this vision of those things are nightmarishly expensive, but there are like a big vehicles that could serve, if I'm not mistaken, or maybe that was the 4th edition, like big vehicles
If you're
that could serve us.
really worried about like keeping the valuables, you could totally get a truck or a van, get a shop to put in the van, and just have a place that you house the vehicles out to do this work at. And then if you ever need to bug out, you can just be like, all right, just get the vehicles out of there, and then I'll carry most of the valuables with it, as opposed to like a shop set up in a building. If you needed to vacate in, under an hour or something crazy like that because the fuzz is after you, then you're probably not getting all of that shop back, just because it takes too long to break down. But if you have it in a vehicle and the vehicle in the building, and then you just drive the vehicle away, that's that.
Well, I'm all about just breaking into somebody else's shop. That just seems easier
That's
to me.
also plausible.
So currently, what I'm looking at is a sort of a fleet of vans with some of them for people, some of them for shops, one of my personal tank.
That's all possible. Like, I wouldn't make them all vans. I would have like a car, because sometimes you need to drive up to a place with somebody in nice suits, and you don't want to drive up in a free candy van for that.
Also, you could get like 3 Americars for one van and have a fleet of everything. Completely ubiquitous.
And then deliver pizza on the weekends.
I could make like traffic all by myself.
You could.
You
I mean,
could.
think of the ability, the getaways if you're getting chased.
One-man traffic
You
jam.
could start a smuggling ring.
Exactly.
Oh my god, the possibilities! I'm gonna have like 25 Americars, and then lease myself out as a human fleet.
You could be chauffeuring several people all at once. So
And actually make more money than being a Shadowrunner. That would be actually like a strategy for me getting out of the business.
Yeah, you could start Roddy Cab.
And it's
Until
like, oh,
Uber
sorry
nukes
guys,
you.
I'm actually making money now, and no one's shooting at me. Sorry,
yeah. Now, if you want the big paychecks, you got to take the big jobs.
I'm good for it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, we'll see
I
what
do
happens.
have
Go ahead.
a pretty important question. In our downtime, will we need is rent due, basically?
Have we paid rent recently?
No?
Should probably pay rent.
I paid a month in advance a couple weeks ago, and I think
Yeah.
someone else did too.
I did.
Okay, because I know there was like a week or so from last job to this job. I don't remember how much was before the job before that. And we're probably going to have a week or so, probably a little bit more between this job and the next one.
Okay, so I'm good right now, and I can do what I want to do.
Yeah.
Okay. I've just about figured this out with the knowledge skills. Remaining questions. Is there any difference between magical groups that's on that list you sent and magical community?
No. That sounds more or less like the same thing.
Okay. Is there any value to named spirits?
Probably not. In a very specific, like magically oriented campaign where you're going to be dealing with spirits, sure. But remember, that's a list that people have put together over probably 4 editions to just kind of like, these are things that I have taken more than once.
Does psychology do anything for me with regard to my like face thing?
Psychology is a great skill.
Done.
It's one of those things of like that maybe you could roll it on Allie and figure out some things about her depending upon how many hits that you got.
Okay. What do you happen to know what it's based on?
That is up to you. Is it a thing that you look into on occasion, like how to make friends and influence people, or is it a
Yes.
thing where you look to psychological diagnoses and that kind of thing?
It's a thing where it's based on charisma.
Okay, then it would probably be intuition more so than logic.
Fuck. All right.
The
So I'm
logic
good.
ones are academic or technical, and those are more like study, that kind of stuff, where interest-based things are more, how should we put this?
It's really more book learning versus something that you do with your hands. Like, it's street knowledge versus book knowledge.
I'm thinking practical.
So, even like, well, you don't have Tremor, right? I think the 2 options, at least through Chummer, they are street or interest, and both of them wind up using your intuition.
Okay.
The other options are professional or
Technical.
academic. Yeah, technical is another one too.
professional doesn't seem like something that I would take time off to go do. So, all right, I think I'm good.
Well then, we'll take a quick break and we'll come back and we'll talk about the run and the game, and I can ask her some questions about Allie if you guys want. I did throw her character sheet in the chat, and yeah, we'll see what's coming up next.